Hi, Chuck Boutall here, and it's time for another When It Comes Down to It. This one we're talking about project management. We're obviously not in the next few minutes going to be able to cover everything about project management. This is a fundamental overview of it. First thing in project management we have to learn to do is set attainable, reasonable goals. The way we're going to do this is we're going to manage the customer's expectations. That's what they want this project to look like, feel like, be like when you're finished. That's the most important thing to work on. Again, of course, is going to be secondary timing. There's no such thing as going overtime on a project. Do not promise to do something that you know is going to take a week and tell the customer it's going to be 3 days. Remember, the oldest saying is simple: over, deliver, and under promise. Okay, now on top of that, of course, lastly, and these three are all together, is cost. You have to manage the costs on the project. So always be very careful with your budgeting. The most important thing here is to understand the customer has cost in mind. You come in obviously under budget, they're happy. Over budget a little bit, they could be concerned. Over budget a lot, and your reputation is going to suffer. And you may not even get paid. So be very careful about those three things. Remember, manage those expectations, manage the timing on the project, and most of all, manage those costs. All right, and number two, the most important thing to start doing is start doing. In other words, set that plan to action. The most thing you got to remember is here you're going to have to determine the steps. Now, when it's a really large project, that can seem like a daunting task because there's so many things that need to be done. But what you have to do is what old Stephen Covey talked about back in the 90s. Begin with the end in mind. Set your goals that you just took care of in number one and figure out every step that needs to be added in to the scope of work to achieve that goal. Then you're going to set them in timing steps. The biggest thing here is don't get analyzation paralyzation, which we look at the thing so long and so intensely that we actually forget to start doing the project. So remember, no paralyzation by analyzation. Get it done, as your boy says so well on TV. And step number three is probably one of the biggest out there for sure, because now you're involved. You're moving on this project. And basically, your scope of work is a roadmap to what? The goal, the destination. Now, like any kind of roadmap, when you're traveling down the highway, you could have accidents, road detours, whatever else is going to happen. This is going to happen on your project, okay? So complications, these type of things are going to pop up. You're going to have to understand that you're going to have a plan B or an alternate route. And you may even have to have a plan C. As a matter of fact, I always say you need a backup plan for your backup plan. Because at some point in time, your original plan is not going to go the way you wanted it to. So make sure you get that taken care of. So from time to time, you're going to need to reroute. And of course, always remember, if it involves cost, you need to have a change order executed at that time. Always signed by everybody involved. So now we're going along. We've hit our roadblocks, we've worked our way around them with our change orders, and it's time to just get it done and get it finished. Now, overall, remember, a lot of times the project manager wants to be the driver, and that's not a bad spot to be. But then who's navigating and who's administrating? Do you have enough time on a large project to be the project manager, the project administrator, and the project navigator? Probably not. So remember to make sure that you delegate these responsibilities out all the time. One of the funniest sayings in the world was, literally, a group of managers is managing to cut down a jungle in order to clear way for farmland. They are making fantastic time. And then all of a sudden, the project leader comes on in, looks down at everybody, and says, "Wrong jungle." And then all of a sudden the management people go, "Hey, shut up, we're making good time." So remember, you have to keep everybody on course. It's very important to do so. Sometimes you have to get tough. And what I have next for you is some next steps. As we always have great learning at rtilearning.com, one of the two things I want you to look into is Scott Miller's goal setting and, of course, Tom McGuire's Large Loss Mastery Project Management. Setting goals is the first part of any good project, and then, of course, the follow-through has to happen. As always, thanks for learning with rtilearning.com. Hi, Chuck Boutall, Director of Education, and it's time for another When It Comes On Down to It. Here we go again. Got another outtake. I kept thinking to myself, don't say it, and I said it. And as a project management side note, the eternal question has always been the chicken or the egg. In this particular case, are there more wheels on this planet or doors? Think about it. I mean, it'd be a good outtake for the end of this one. I mean, the last one was the disappearing screen, so.